Unit 6, Exercise 1. Profits are managed not only by setting a pricing strategy to maximize revenues and control costs, they are also influenced by a commitment to measure marketing performance. An organization cannot achieve its objectives if it does not know where it stands in meeting those objectives. Measurement of marketing activities is needed to assess past performance as well as set a future marketing strategy. For example, it is important for a minor league baseball team to understand the effectiveness of Saturday night fireworks promotion in terms of the number of additional tickets sold and related spending from those customers. Tracking performance in this case would enable a comparison of revenue generated with costs accumulated to execute the promotion. Such return on investment analysis should be performed whenever possible to understand the relationship between marketing investment and profits and guide decision-making for future marketing activities. Exercise 2. Consider how some people, including some young children, enjoy doing jigsaw puzzles for hours. There are no big surprises, unless the last piece has been hidden by a sly sibling. The players know exactly what the end result will look like and are rarely startled midway, but there can still be great satisfaction upon completion. When listening to an interesting story, we can be deeply disappointed if we don't get to hear the ending. When exploring a new place, such as a house or a park, we often want to get a clear sense of the overall layout and can be frustrated if we don't know how different locations fit together. Infants, like all of us, strive to achieve closure. They have a need to identify all the toys that are in a box or explore every room of a new space. They have similar needs for closure in their causal models of how things happen. This constellation of needs for closure often helps drive wonder, especially when there is a need to close an explanatory gap. Exercise 3. Unlike Europe's national and partisan press, U.S. daily newspapers competed predominantly at the city level. The circulation range for a daily newspaper was primarily bounded by its distance from other cities and by its time of publication. Streetcars at the end of the 19th century and motor trucks in the 20th permitted timely delivery of newspapers over larger regions. Different papers competing in the same towns chose to limit or spread out their physical distribution and editorial coverage to different radial distances from the central city. Morning newspapers printed during the night were, of course, able to distribute over a wider range than afternoon papers. By and large, however, the geographical area within which happenings were regularly reported as local news coincided with the area from which the newspaper drew the bulk of its readers. Exercise 4. Wind plays an important role in Earth's water cycle. In recent years, the once accepted view of the water cycle has changed, and wind's role in atmospheric circulation has found greater appreciation. Traditionally, it was thought that the planet's water cycle mostly involved evaporated moisture from large bodies of water being distributed by wind across the Earth's surface. In the last 50 years, that view has changed. It is now known that forests play a significant role in generating the transportation that drives rainfall. The various plants that live within forests capture water in their roots and then release it as vapor through transpiration. prevailing winds transport the water through the air, delivering rainfall to other locations. When this water moves through the power of wind in large volumes, it becomes what meteorologist Jose Marengo called a flying river. Exercise 5. Caregivers and others in a child's immediate surroundings affect the language being acquired by that child. Later, social groups affect the child's language. This results in social varieties of language with differences for class, ethnicity, and age, as well as gender and gender expression. However, when a social group undergoes significant changes across generations leading to the need for a different type of communication, an earlier variety might cease to be used. This occurred with the English initially spoken in Cosme and Nueva Australia, which were rural Paraguayan communities founded by Australian immigrants in the 1890s. The only remaining language vestiges from those English-speaking immigrants are common Paraguayan last names like Kennedy, Smith, Stanley, and Wood. Exercise 6. Pain is a neurological response to an external stimulus. A mosquito bite, triggering a very small number of pain receptors, will create a mild sensation of awareness in the brain. The signal is relayed by a chain of neurons up the spine of the individual to a special place in the brain. The excitement of the brain pain neurons, in turn, asserts a presence in our consciousness. We become aware of something being on our arm. If it is a bee sting, where the bee leaves poisonous liquids at the sting site, more neurons at the site of the sting are triggered than with a mosquito. Therefore, a stronger signal is sent to the brain with a stronger insertion into the individual's consciousness. If a falling tree crushes a leg, then many pain receptors are fired off and the consciousness is overwhelmed with pain signals. Torn flesh will continuously fire the signal until medical treatment deals with the problem. Exercise 7. Conflict is at the heart of people work, especially for professionals such as social workers, police and probation officers, who are often required to balance individual rights and freedoms against risks and harm to others. The very act of undertaking a risk assessment on an individual or family carries with it the likelihood of decisions being taken with which some of the people involved may violently disagree. To remove a child at risk from a family to a place of safety, or to insist that someone in mental distress go into hospital for treatment, is to be involved in conflict. Within a multidisciplinary hospital team, there could also be conflicting approaches to how to work most effectively with or treat a particular individual or family. Most people workers and healthcare workers can also give examples of times when they have had to deal with angry, distressed, or disappointed people whose response has often provoked high levels of conflict. To develop appropriate communication skills for dealing with conflict is, therefore, essential. Exercise 8. Drinking bypasses lots of our natural food control system. Just think how easy it is to drink a large glass of apple juice, yet you wouldn't sit down and eat 8 apples in one sitting. After the second one, the control system would step in and say you have had enough. The whole apple contains fiber, which slows the release of the apple's sugar and, in doing so, balances the effect of eating it on our energy. Without the fiber in the juice, the sugar sends us on a roller coaster of energy cycles, starting with a boost and ending in a crash. The crash may be just at the point when you are asked to stand up and present your ideas, or you need to kick off that tricky task on your to-do list. It's just not worth it. Sugary caffeine drinks have a similar, if not more profound effect, yet large coffee shop chains take great delight in selling us expensive iced or cream-topped drinks that are equivalent to an extra meal but will simply not register as one, starting a blood sugar crash cycle all over again. Exercise 9. There are a lot of ways for an ad to go wrong, but its odds for success are increased by starting out with a smart focus strategy. With such focus, the ad is able to deliver its singular message on the many levels in which advertising communicates. It bores down to make its point rather than making a big mess of itself. The chance for the reader to get it increases tremendously. The flip side is that an unfocused strategy leads to ads that must deliver many different points all at the same time. This is not effective. Here's an analogy. Try throwing a dozen balls at someone all at once. It's impossible to catch a single one. In fact, the impulse is to give up, shield your face, and try not to get hurt. Absolute chaos. But throw a single ball directly at the target, and chances are he or she will make the catch. That's the difference between an ineffective ad with a fuzzy strategy and an effective ad with a focused strategy. Exercise 10. We are all able to think of words which have changed their meanings or acquired additional meanings in our own lifetime, such as the changes in the use of words like chip, grass, joint, and hardware. This demonstrates how words are mere labels for constructs of meanings. If these constructs have a different makeup from one person to another, the transitivity of communication between them is not going to be complete or accurate. For those who are learning English as an additional language, apprehension of English forms and structures and their meanings may pose difficulties or even may be tinged with aspects of meaning from the characteristics owned by the native tongue. Gradually, with full fluency and the commerce of using the language, commonality of understanding will be generally achieved. However, it is important for those teaching children at early stages of the acquisition of English in our schools to attend to building the understanding of meanings behind the labels of the words and phrases being taught. Exercise 11. Many of us are prone to wanting instant gratification, constantly buying new clothes to be trendy, wanting the latest thing to keep up, or seeking immediate results or pleasure. Even though choosing something now may feel good in the moment, taking a longer-term view and developing self-discipline can result in bigger and better rewards in the future. Delayed gratification is our ability to resist these temptations of instant pleasure, allowing us to stay focused on our long-term goals. It involves budgeting and spending mindfully, as well as developing discipline and patience to avoid impulse spending and decision-making. Think about instant versus delayed gratification when you are developing your own financial goals. Consider whether your goals are focused on short-term gains or designed to look forward to a bigger picture. Exercise 12. Uncertainty about what tool or procedure to use and the risk that results are not what they appear to be are problems common to all scientific disciplines. The development of new tools allows scientists to answer questions they could not answer in the past, and the answers to those questions will lead to new questions, and so on. Therefore, new technologies and procedures are crucial to the progress of science. At the same time, other scientists unfamiliar with a new tool may express skepticism and call for others to replicate the experiments. Because this skepticism often comes to us in the form of sound bites, and because uncertainty about experimental tools is an aspect of science that is not familiar to most people, even people with a bachelor's degree in science, the skepticism may seem like waffling. Waffling is annoying when you are trying to make decisions on the basis of the scientific information that comes your way. However, if a new technique is the source of the uncertainty, time and future experiments will confirm or disconfirm its usefulness and clear up uncertainty.